Good morning, and good morning. How you doing this morning? Okay, it's Wednesday. It's the hump day. A little chilly for Sandy. I'm gonna tell you right now. I tell you, I like the heat. Hot. The hotter, the better. But a little chilly this morning. I think when I looked at my phone, I think it was like 45 degrees. And of course, I don't want any heat on in the house because that will cost me money. So I'm not going to even do it. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I just put on, a shawl or this or that, and I'll be fine. But anyway, just wondering how your last couple of days have been. Mine have been pretty good. Got to see a few friends that are going through some medical issues, and so I'm going to give them a shout out this morning. Just tell them that I'm putting them up in prayer, and that would be my friend Miss Marva and my other friend Tracy. They know who they are, but I'm going to try to get by to see them between today and tomorrow. Because if I were in, a hospital of any kind, I'd certainly hope that somebody would come and check on me, check on me. But today I wanted to talk about the word swank. I had the opportunities over my lifetime to see people who really lived well. I mean, extremely well, not just in where they lived, but the clothes they were able to wear and the cars that they were driving and the hobnobbing that they were doing. And I always ask myself, would I want that lifestyle? Um, I wouldn't say that I would turn it down. Let me put it that way. But I think it would be interesting just to find out how the other people live. And the I guess the opposite of that, would I ever want to live in a situation where, I had no running water, I had no food to eat, I had no, proper clothing. Um, to me, that's when I talk about the fact that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for where I am. I don't have to be at the top. Absolutely not. But I'm so blessed and thankful that I'm not and was not selected by the higher power to be at the bottom. So I am perfectly content with where I am. But I saw some pictures yesterday, and I'm a person that, I can see things, I can, read things, and that just sends my imagination, having fun, daydreaming, or dreaming at night about, what an opulent lifestyle would be, what a swank lifestyle would be. I don't know about it, and I don't believe that I would know about the long of it. Yes, I've over time seen a few things, but never anything that, you know had a lasting effect where I was living like that for a long period of time. It might have been overnight. It might have been just for the day where I was invited to a function, but it just lets you know that the world is full of so many things that many of us will never experience. We were not selected for that experience. We were given what we were given. We were given what we were given. So I found a poem this morning that speaks to that whole idea of swank, because I think you can be swank. Get this, without really having a lot of money, without having a big house that's very in a very exclusive neighborhood, without driving a luxury car, and you can still have swank. And also, they could call it a sway. It could be swag. You name it. You name it. Because it's something that personally, even though my mother and father didn't have much, my father was always Dapper Dan. Every time he went out to do, certain kind of jobs that he did, he was always dressed to the nines with, he had on his wingtip shoes, and he had his, three-piece suits on, or And sometimes he'd do open collar or the tie kind of thing. And at that time, it might have been the bigger ties, the wider ties, or the thinner ones. And then he also wore the caps, the what they call them when they're fedoras. He wore a fedora. My dad was a bad man. Okay, now my mom dressed to the nines all the time, high heel shoes and the fitted dresses and the jewelry and all of that kind of stuff. And I used to just sit like this, just looking at them when it was time for them to go out. So I've always had that not not necessarily desire, but almost in my DNA, in my makeup, that I always wanted to look a certain way whenever I went out. And everybody would always say, when I wore jeans one time, and somebody said, I've never, ever seen you in jeans. I wear jeans, not often, not often. I generally like just a little bit of kind of more polished look, not as much as a sporty look, but it's who we are. Like I have some friends that you will never find them in a suit. You will never see them in a dress. You will never see them in high heel shoes. You will, no makeup, no nothing. It's like that's their style. And we all have our own style. So anyway, here's this poem I have, and it is written by, let me see if his name came out, David Derbyshire. So I imagine that it was written in England, but anyway, that is his name. And it says, looking very swank. It says, standing at an intersection, waiting for a little man to turn green. A little man to turn green. That's England. It says, I see my own reflection in the screens of a passing limousine. Just to maneuver around was quiet an endeavor. As it turned the corner, it seemed to take forever. The little green man is now nervously tapping his foot. I think about crossing, but then decided to stay put. The back door of the limo stopped right in front of me. All of the windows were tinted. There was nothing I could see. As the car idled, the electric window slowly sank. Sitting in the back, a beautiful lady looking very swank. She smiled at me as if to say, I am here and you are not. I felt a bit funny as she put me on the spot. Then I leaned through the gap and whispered in her ear, please drive a little forward. Your car is on my foot, my dear. That is by David Derbyshire. Cute little poem. But it says that, sometimes we might be rolled over by the people that we meet that are further up. They may think themselves better. Good morning, Joan. They may think themselves more worthy, more deserving, more important than you. But an interesting concept from the way he puts it. He says he was about the little green man is when you walk across the street, the light they give you. And he thought he was time to walk, but the limousine took the time just getting around the corner, and she rolled down the window. And that's when he said, look, you can roll a little faster because you're on my foot. Sometimes that's how our life is. People may get on our feet, not because we have really done anything, but we're in their way of their importance. We're in the way of their swankness, of their suave, their debonair, their I am. We're in the middle. We're in the way. So sometimes that's how we fall. We fall kind of funny when we see other people doing their idea of being more important than us. So it says, what is swank? And I don't know, are you stuck? Have you ever been stuck on trying to be more swank than what you are? I haven't. I always take it as a delight when I see people living well. I'm delighted for them. I'm not feeling myself to be unfortunate or missing out. I don't know that lifestyle. So therefore I can't relate. I cannot relate. So swank, it says it's dashing smartness, as in dress or appearance, a style, it's swagger. And it says, so sometimes when we see, people, we know they have a certain style about them, certain swank, a certain fashion forwardness. They call it fashionista for women, and men may be the debonaires. They're just sitting in a way that they are just propped up just right for themselves, and obviously it's on display because we see them. So when we look at something swank, it says, is it classy? Looks at how deluxe it might be. It may be the house that they're going into. It may be a mansion, not just a simple house, but a mansion, which means it's multi-floored, multi-roomed, many, many bathrooms, probably two kitchens, and maybe a quarter for somebody to be in, a quarters for someone to live on the side, either for the maid or the mother-in-law's suite. So anyway, it says when something is swank, there's a ritziness to it, fancy. It could be posh, luxurious, stylish, splashy, and trendy. Some of us have seen those. I tell you, one time I was working in New Jersey, and I was with College Board for my job, which is the ones that make the various exams up, like the GREs and those kind of exams. And I remember passing a house, and it was near Princeton University. And I was nosy, so the business that I was meeting with, and the lady who happened to be and live in that area, she said, "Oh, let me just drive you this way so you can really see." And I'd never seen it before. I saw a yellow, and it must have been like I want to say a Bentley. It was a yellow Bentley with the person was dressed up all in yellow attire. It was a man, and they were at attention, but it reminded me as if it were in England. I'd never seen that before. They had on a hat, and I would say it was like a three-cornered hat. And I said, they still do that? And she said, in certain places, this is considered. They're probably going to the country club or doing something very special for the day. And I said, that is unbelievable. So I was kind of freaked out about it, real excited. And it didn't last long. That view, just like the view this in the poem, the person they don't see it long. They just know it exists because it goes by quickly. And that's what happened. So anyway, I remember being so enamored with it, so just taken aback. I said, I just didn't know people really lived like that. I thought it was only in movies and on, cartoons. And the lady that was with me said, no, this is how they live. This is their life. They'll have, tea with somebody at high noon. They will have, sandwiches made of watercress. And I'm thinking, wow, I don't want a watercress sandwich. No, thank you. I don't want that. No, I'm good. So anyway, when we move on in the word and we break it down, my first S in the word, my first letter in the word which is of swank, is S. That means stylish to me. When I look at how this all comes about for people that have that ability to have style. Now, you can be stylish, and you can even be, have a swag and a trendiness to you, but doesn't mean that you're that swank, that you're like over the top in terms of being opulent. Good morning, Adelia. How are you? Today our word is swank, SWANK. And, I just did a poem and all of that. Self-confidence, that's good. That is really good. So anyway, my S today is stylish. That's what I put. Joan put down self-confidence, because I do believe that in many cultures you can see people that have swank, that it doesn't say that they have a lot of money, but they know how to put their money to work for them, and maybe what they're wearing, and what they're riding in, where they're going, how they carry themselves, their cage, their frame. That's, to me, that's stylish. That has a swankiness to it. Love it, and I believe in how I dress is how I dress. I love to do what I do. I do what I do all the time. So anyway, so the stylishness of swank for me says it's characterized by conforming to a style of being fashionable and a standard, fashionably elegant and smart or chic, meaning that they're looking at, how they carry themselves, how they're looking at what it is that they see. So it says that to be stylish is to be beautiful, chic, dapper. Here's that word again, dapper, dashing, dressy, new, jazzy, nifty, polished, smart, snazzy, sleek, slick, and upscale. When I think about about all of that under stylish, that's fitting. That's so good because it's so true. It's so true. When you see people that are sharp, and my mother, and I got that from my mother. My mother would always, when she saw somebody that was sharply dressed, she always commented. I do the same. Hey, you were wearing that outfit. I saw a woman yesterday. She had the prettiest hairstyle. She had the most beautiful hairstyle. I said, "Oh, that is awesome. What an awesome hairstyle. It looks so beautiful." And she said, "Oh, thank you, sweetie." Nothing wrong with complimenting other people. Nothing wrong with it at all. When I move on in the word of swank, my W is for wise, because I believe that when we get up every day and we put things together, we decide how wise we're going to be about how it goes together. Now, some people, they're not into clothes at all. I used to work in New York with engineers, and Debbie's not here today, but she can attest to this, that the engineers never wore the same, socks on each foot. They would have like a green sock and a blue sock. They were colorblind. They couldn't see. They couldn't see the colors. And so and then we would always ask, and I remember Debbie asking one of them, "Did your wife see you before you stepped out this morning, before you came out this morning? Did you?" And he would always say, "No, but she knows I'm colorblind, but she's out of town. She went to visit her family." So sometimes, you know that some people aren't going to be into being stylish and wise about how they put colors together because they may not see the colors. They may not see that some things don't go together. Now, at one time, stripes and polka dots didn't go together. Now you see outfits coming together where, guess what? Stripes and polka dots are hanging out. In fact, polka dots have been big probably the last couple of years. This year's color, it says it's probably going to be yellow and like a coral color. So the light colors are in, ladies and gents, if you like light color. So to be wise, it says, is as in prudent, having or showing deep understanding, intelligent for the application of their knowledge, how they put it together. It says being prudent, sagacious, insightful, brilliant, clever. I always like to see people who had a clever approach to their putting together clothes. Wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Joan. Wonderful. Insightful, perceptive. It says saged and discerning. Those are all just really talking about what swank is under the use of the word wise with it. That sometimes we can be all of those things and come out with our certain suave, our certain way of dealing with our own style, our own style. When we move further on in the word, my A in swank is for attractive, as in appealing. It says having an often mysterious or magical power to attract. I think there's a lot of people that they can walk down the street with or without a dog on a leash. And it has to be, the dog has to be out a little bit above with how fast somebody's walking. And if they're sharply dressed, everybody just looks at them. I've been in New York City, so when I'd see that, and I would just be I said, I thought that only happened in the movies, but not so. Affluent, that's a great word. Affluent, upscale, a certain way of living and a style, yes. And but I have seen that, and it's really interesting. I don't love dogs enough to be out there trying to show off my walk with the dog. No, when I'd walk our dog, he'd walk by himself. He didn't want me to put him on a leash. So my daughter had to walk him more often because she could get the leash on without him trying to snap her up. But anyway, the wise and the attraction really go well together. My A is attraction, affluent attraction, often mysterious and magical. It says that's when someone has charisma. Remember, I talked about Riz not long ago, which comes from charisma. Well, the Riz of this really talks about the attraction that one gets just out of having their own swankiness, their own way of living life and going about their own business. And it says that when we have this thing, it's called char. Remember, it's Riz, so they have a char, they have Riz, all of that. Keep dissecting words, of which the younger people do. It says where it becomes interesting and fascinating, alluring, enchanting, engaging, glamorous. All of these words pretty much talk about when someone has that swag or that swank towards being who they are in terms of their way in which they carry themselves, how they move out on stuff. Attention. Ooh, that's real good. That is great. That's a great word too. That's a great word. Affluent in attention, meaning they live a certain way with being affluent, and then they attract a certain amount of attention because they live that way. Like I tell you, every time a limousine passes, it's like, wonder who's in that limousine. Not that it's me wanting to be in there, but just the excitement of it. I'm like, wow. And a couple times passing by homes that are just like somebody lives in there. Mansions. They do. They do. They live in those mansions. My N, when I move on in my word of swank, is for new, the newness of things, taking the place of one that came before. That means it's new. And, we have all these new words that's kind of, chiseled down on what we used to say before or what we used to do. And that's cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So I don't know, maybe 20 years from now, the vocabulary will be much more, separated and cryptic and I would say quite smaller than the way we use it now. But it just says the quickness to reply to information online has made it where it's kind of stylish to make sure that you know what some of the acronyms are, and the fact that they don't have full conversations like we used to. So always wonder about, well, what's the future? Will they be talking Jetson? Where everything is fast paced and call George Jetson, and he comes down and you say two words, he understands what they are and goes back up. We don't know. We don't know. But attention is good. So when we move on in the word of swank, I come up with new. And which is what I already talked about. Haven't done before, haven't been there before, but it's an alternative, meaning it's alternating what people did before. It's another thing. It's different. It's a makeshift in what was to what is a makeshift. And it says it's also an alternative. It's an alternate. It's an alternative. It's another thing, and it's different. That's what new is. And that's how styles are set. When I look at, I was when I was researching doing this, I was looking back through some of the old kind of, I would call it vintage clothing. And you see that clothing and you bring it up to now. Some of the styles that were going on back then have been remodeled for now. And now we might be wearing some of those same styles, only because everything repeats, but they repeat with a new flair, which makes it newer or new. So Erica, Novel, yes. Normal and novel. Those and noticed. Oh, noticed is good. Newsworthy. Oh, those are all good. Those are all good words because let's face it, if a queen or a king came by, the street that you were on, first of all, the fact that if they announce it, everybody's out on the street to see the king or queen pass. And it's the same thing when you have, presidents in the vicinity where you are. They've cordoned off the streets and made it where people can walk to maybe see them, but not drive, because that would, they leave that to be reserved. They leave that to be reserved. And I've never seen, like been up close to that kind of attraction that would be there. But I imagine it would be interesting to see. I imagine it would be. Now, my last word in swank, using the K, is for knowing. I think I didn't put just knowledge, I put knowing, because knowing to me, it says as being aware of the inside information, meaning they know how to put it together. They have a knowing for how to put their clothes together, their house together, their, what kind of car, making sure that the car has certain wheels and certain seats. And, even when they go in and they order it, all of the specialties that they're looking at, they put those in their car. In fact, I had an accident last year and I had to get another car, and my car came with an ambiance light that stays on all the time. The car is running. And of course, because I am a purple girl, my ambience light stays purple. Now, purple, of course, if you know, means royalty. So I act like I'm royal. I have no money. I have no palace. I have no a large, pot of money at the end of the rainbow. I don't have any of that. But it's how I feel about who I am, which is all of us. We all have a way of how we feel about life. A knockout. That's good. Knockout is good, Joe. We want to knock out the box, I say, of anything that we present in our everyday living, what we may bring to a particular event. That's what we do. If it says come formal, we better come formal, but then we better come formally looking good. Okay. We just can't step up there and be formal. We have to be formally in sync with the requirements of a gown or tucks for the men, and then they're going to tell you if it's after 5, it's a certain tuck. If it's before 5, it's a certain. So all of that is what they're looking at. So I have knowing as they say, of being aware, and to be aware of how you present yourself in the world. It says to be aware and alert, in the know, to be informed, to be prepared and ready. And there's that word again, to understand what the new is. Not just the newness that you went and bought something, but the newness meaning maybe you're setting a style. Maybe you have your own swanky kind of thing going on at your level. Because I think just like fashion and style and swankness and all that, to me, I think it has its own hierarchy, meaning that, if you have really a lot of money, then you can go all the way up to the top, and not worry about anything, how much it costs. But if you're an average Sandy like I am, okay, then you stay within your means, but you look as best as you can. That's how I look at how I carry myself and what it is that I'm looking at in terms of my own swank, and I believe everybody has their own interests in what it is they want to wear, where it is they want to go, what they want to ride in, what address they want to live at, all those kind of things, and which makes life interesting because none of us are the same. We're all very, very, very different, which I think makes life wonderful, as Joan said, makes it wonderful. But look, I didn't want to keep you long today, but I wanted to just talk a little bit about SWANK. And ironically enough, I'm looking at words that either something I see throughout my day, as I said, or I and daydream about, or wake up at night and I'm saying, oh, let me write that word down. And I just always have words that generate a conversation. And that's what I want to do here at Are You Stuck? Of course we are. We're always stuck. Hey, I got some new glasses. These are pretty cool. I got them over in Alabama yesterday. I rode over there with a friend. But anyway, I want you to have a good day. I'm going to see you on Friday, the last day of this week, and we'll come up with another word. But listen, you don't have to do anything else but hit that share button and let the message be shared that there's someone here that is trying to ask you the question, are you stuck? Let's talk. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Ardelia, love you, love you, love you, Joan, Erica, and everyone else that comes in after and looks at this later on. Love you too. Appreciate you very much. And today I couldn't see the number of people that are actually here, but it I don't know, it's doing something strange. I see the number that have actually given me hearts and likes, but I don't see anything else. But anyway, love you guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.